For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of USC's 48-17 victory over the Sun Devils in Sun Devil Stadium. Coming into this week, you and I, we didn't want to make any predictions about this game. And I think it's a good thing because I don't think anyone would have predicted this outcome. I mean, it was almost like we saw a different USC team. And what we heard from players and coaches is that they just played loose. They played like they had nothing to lose. And that's pretty much what we saw today.
Well, they played, confidently. They had a good game plan. I think that it starts there. I mean, they took advantage of what they can do. If Sam Darnold plays like Sam Darnold, if he can move around, he still wasn't as accurate maybe as we had, seen him last year. But his receivers stepped up, and they were mature. They were making mature plays. They went to him. They caused Arizona State to think, what do we do with our secondary now? So they backed them off. Instead of coming up and playing real close to the line of scrimmage, they backed them off, which then gave running room for Rojo. And Rojo just kept running it and running it and running it. And USC has better skilled people. They've got better athletes. And it came down to who's got better athletes, and USC's got better athletes.
Yeah. I talked to Sam Darnold. He said, if we just don't make mistakes, that's what we can look like. And he said that he also thought that the wide receivers are really coming into their own. How much does that make his job easier?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when they're making plays after plays, so that, you catch the ball, you turn on your defender, you got him one-on-one. So they were picking on when they went man and went one-on-one. You make a play, and that guy's almost got to back off even more, which gives Sam even more, opportunity to, to hit somebody. And it just kind of builds on itself. But I think it was really important that they started throwing the ball, setting everything up, and building the run game off the passing game. I thought that they haven't done that as much this year, and I think they committed to it and said, we're good on this, we're going to be fine, and let's go. And they showed confidence, not only in Sam, but in all the guys he's throwing the ball to. And then great confidence in just giving it to Rojo. And that's what we haven't seen as much of, that whole tightness thing that's kind of bothered them. A lot of that has been, the weight of those expectations, I think, in playing not to lose and game planning not to lose. Today they game planned to win and went out there and executed.
Yeah, USC also got some help on the defense. We saw the return of Josh Fatu, who was out with a concussion. Also the return of Porter Gustin. He got some work in there. We asked him, what did it feel like? Did you get to practice leading up to this game? And he said, nope. He said it was a little foreign to be out there, a little rusty, but you can tell that those two guys definitely help on the D-line.
Yeah, because they were in there fairly early in the game and fairly big situations, and you look down and there's Porter and Josh, both of them in there. And, they're doing that off a week where, again, they didn't practice, they got cleared, but having veterans who, the rest of the team looks up to those guys, and to see them out there, there's just something about that you can't. And they come out and they're leading them in pregame, for example, and Porter is leading the drills and all that, and it's just amazing. He went back into his boot after the game. He said he's fine, that they're just being safe about it, and he still said the bicep bothers him a little bit. He did get his hand on the quarterback a time or two on the pass rush, and you could just tell it has a different look when you've got Porter and Chenna and Rasheem coming in. That has a different look if you're the offense, if you're the quarterback. You got a different feeling about it.
Everyone knew the implications of this game for the Pac-12 South. Basically, if you lose this game, if you're USC, your shot is kind of over. What does it say about this team? I mean, for the most part, what does it say about this team that they came in here with the attitude, we have nothing to lose, when they really did?
Yeah, they'd have been the second place team in the Pac-12 South going against Arizona next week. Arizona would have been a one-loss team. USC would have been a two-loss team. They would have had the opportunity to get back in it, but you don't really want to do that. I mean, it'll be just as bad if they lose next week, obviously. But to come off a win like this, and Arizona's coming off a win, I think it just sets up a great matchup against Khalil Tate, who the whole world is trying to figure out what's that kid doing. An LA kid that most of these guys know. Just a great matchup for next week. But what a downer that would have been if you would have been coming off a loss tonight. I mean, this was a win you had to have. USC had to win this game.
After the showing that USC had at Notre Dame, there was fire T, fire Clay, fire everyone. I mean, looking at the game plan, the offensive game plan that they put together, what can you take away from this game? Who is this team?
Well, they're pretty confident if what you're asking them to do is what they can do. Now, earlier in the year, those receivers couldn't do that. Even if you call the right plays, they still have to be ready to do them, and they weren't. And they weren't ready to do much of any of that. They are now. I mean, what a difference. Now, they got Michael Pittman back. That makes a big difference. He started off with a couple of tough catches, probably, could have had a big-time touchdown where he ran through how many people, 5, 6 people that got called back on a penalty. One of how many? How many plays did they call back? Or did they, end up changing after the play was over? I mean, at least 3 touchdowns that one went Arizona State's way, 2 went against USC. So that's 21 points. If you look at this final score and you say there could have been another 21 points, it could have, swung the other way. Pretty impressive performance by USC.
Mm-hmm. How much should we read into this, though? I know Kalen Ballage was out sick with a stomach bug, so we didn't really see him out there as far as the rushing attack. And ASU's defense kind of had a lot of missed tackle issues that we haven't really seen from them in the past 2 weeks. How much should one read into this game?
I think you should read into the fact that USC's got some talent. I mean, I think a lot of people were starting to say, does USC really not have that much talent? Is that the problem? Tonight you look at it and you say, they do have talent. Those guys played like the guys, were supposed to play, but they haven't been playing like that. I mean, you can make the case that their talent hasn't been playing like the talent that many people think they have. Filling in all the blanks. If you get, Porter and Josh Fatu back just for a little bit, you get Jordan Iosefa, who's played more and more, and he's more ready to play now. You get on offense, you get Michael Pittman, who we always knew he was going to be able to play like that. He just wasn't healthy enough to play like that. You know what Tyler Vaughns is doing now, and you get those two with Deontay Burnett, and it's a whole different look if you're a defense and trying to stop that group of receivers. And Tyler Petit, look at the play he made. I mean, I couldn't tell. I asked him afterwards. I said, "Who's faster now, you or Sam?" I said, "Sam ran that." Ran that one keep, and then you running that, that seam route. And I said, I don't know if I've seen either one of you guys run that fast. And that was a neat thing to see.
Mm-hmm. What does this do for their confidence? I know Sam said that it helps coming into the stadium and them shutting them down. What does this do for this team?
I think it lets them have a picture in their mind of this is what we can be. Like last year's team, kind of got this idea in their mind about what they could be, and they kind of went out and they became that team. This team hasn't had that picture in its mind other than the Stanford game. They've basically not been able to say, as you asked the question we've all tried to answer, who are we? Who is this team? I don't think they knew. I don't think they had the kind of game that made them think, this is who we are. I think tonight they had that game. Now, there's no guarantee you can carry it through. You have to carry it through. It's not going to carry through for you. You got to come out and got to play like that next week. And this is probably a team that, as it was in the Rose Bowl, as it was tonight, as it was against Stanford, where the offense is going to carry this team. I mean, I think the defense, because of the injuries, maybe is never going to be able to be that total shutdown defense you hope for, but you could really hope for the offense to be that kind of a mature team where Sam looks like Sam, Rojo looks like Rojo, and the receivers look a lot like last year's. The guys that they lost, the Jujus and the Dariuses and all of that. You needed those guys to step up. They did tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right, it's gonna make for a nice showdown next week against U of A. All right, for Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.